Hi, welcome to our video on conditional statements rather. We're going to talk about how to write conditional statements, how to identify the different parts of conditional statements, and how we can represent them in different ways. So a conditional statement is usually of the form if-then, where I have if some hypothesis P, then there's a conclusion Q. So for example, if x is an even number, x being an even number is my hypothesis, then it is divisible by 2. And it's much easier to identify your hypothesis in any situation because it always comes after the word if. So if x is an even number, then it is divisible by 2. My hypothesis is that x is an even number. And my conclusion is that it is divisible by 2, or x is divisible by 2. Now I can also write these conditional statements symbolically. I don't have to write out the whole phrase or sentence. What I can do is I can utilize arrows and lowercase letters, always lowercase, to represent the hypotheses and conclusions that I want to express. So for example, here's a bunch of different options. And typically, if you're looking at the more general format, if P then Q is the most general format that you will ever see. But it doesn't always have to be if P then Q. Now we're going to use the last half of the alphabet, and it's always going to be lowercase letters. That's just a convention that logicians and mathematicians have agreed upon ever since logic was compiled as a more formal discipline sometime in the last few centuries. But I've got these different statements, all represented by lowercase letters. And my first sentence says, with these arrows, I would read this as if P, then Q. So I would say if P, well, P says it is January. Then Q, the beaches are open. And of course, these do not have to be true statements. They can be false statements. We can prove that they're false in certain situations. But at least for now, all we need to know is how to write out and represent our conditional statements in different ways. So there's my hypothesis, there's my conclusion. If it is January, then the beaches are open. Letter B, I've got my hypothesis of S. If it is summer, then my conclusion Q, the beaches are open. Again, this seems a little bit more logical than the first one, but both are good examples of conditional statements. And our last one, I'd encourage you to pause the video, try to write this one out, and then unpause and check your work. And I should have if the beaches are open, then it is summer. So that's kind of a basic rundown on conditional statements. What are the different parts, how to represent them symbolically, and how to write out examples of them given different premises and conclusions. Check out our next video on negation, and I will see you soon.